U.S. economy in 2025 has entered a period of significant downturn, marked by a stock market crash, rising unemployment, declining GDP growth, and widespread economic uncertainty.
Damn. God damn. God damn. God damn. 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 I just got back from grocery shopping and let me show you what I bought. Guess how much I spent because it's absurd. Orange juice, not even a name brand. Asparagus, strawberries, don't even know what brand this is. Tomatoes, and they're not organic. Sourdough. And that concludes the grocery haul. Now, for the long awaited, I spent, drumroll please, $40. $40 on 5 items. Thank you.
I honestly have no idea what to do anymore. I'm sitting here, it's almost midnight. I've been scrolling for hours, just looking for jobs, like extra jobs. I work 2 jobs right now, and I feel like I can't even afford, what I'm trying to pay for. My rent's so expensive. I go to the grocery store today, I get bread, peanut butter, jelly, and milk, and it comes out to almost $18. $18 for sandwich ingredients without any protein and milk. My phone bill's expensive, gas is expensive, and I'm just like, man, I'm a 28-year-old. I'm out here in Oregon, and I honestly don't even know what to do. Something needs to change. Something must change very, very fast, or I honestly, I don't know if I'll be able to survive this. I've talked to many people. They're in the same boat. So I want to use this page as a place for people to come support each other and just, hopefully get through this together, because I know it's not just me. We're in this together. It's going to be okay. But we really got to ride this out together.
You know what? If the industry wants 50-year house loans and 15-year car loans and 5-year cell phone loans, then I think we need a law that says that every manufacturer is responsible for that product working and lasting 100% for the entire length of the finance period. If you finance your house for 50 years, everything in that house has to work for 50 years, appliances included, and that means the builder is responsible for the cost. If it doesn't work, their problem, they have to fix it. They get no recourse, no option out. Cell phones are financed for 5 years. That cell phone has to function at 100% for the whole 5 years. If it doesn't work, if it's a manufacturer defect, if it breaks, they have to replace it. Their cost, no recourse out of it. And then cars. If you have to finance a car for 15 years, then the manufacturer of that car has to replace everything on it for the first 15 years. I'm talking bumper to bumper coverage. Everything in that some gun has to be covered, because if we're financing things for 15 years, they should have to work for the entire length of the finance period.
While the economy showed resilience in early 2025, a combination of policy decisions, global factors, and structural weaknesses has led to what many experts describe as recession or near-recession state. Projections suggest continued challenges into 2025 with potential for deeper contractions if unresolved.
Up front, they are trying to sell you lifelong rentership under the guise of owning property. But if it takes you 50 years to own a property and you might be in the ground before you do, you're just renting. You're just renting. But you still have to pay to upkeep the house. You still have to pay the property taxes. You're just renting.
November 16th, 2025, Moody's has declared almost half of the states in our country are in a recession, officially, by definition. And of those half of them are red states who voted for Donald Trump. Many of the blue states are the ones that surround Washington, D.C., and had a lot of federal workers that were let go. And Moody's says that the recession is due to the tariffs, stricter immigration policies that, number one, are creating labor shortages, but also, number two, it's a loss of tax base, because whether Trump supporters want to believe it or not, even undocumented workers pay taxes just can't get through their heads. So that loss of tax base is helping to drive the recession. The federal jobs cuts, which are causing high unemployment rates in these 23 states, no new job growth, or very slow hiring. Okay? They get into a lot more, but it's all because of this administration's economic policies. So here we are. Here we are. Here we are. But at least we got that ballroom, and at least Donald Trump is throwing these extravagant parties on your dime and my dime.
Manufacturing jobs are leaving the US again. Farms are bankrupt at alarming rates, and tourism has declined 20%.
You know, shit's about to get bad when, first and foremost, headlines look like this. And the guy that predicted the 2008 recession is predicting something far worse than a recession happening. Far, far worse. Far, far worse. More like the devaluation of the dollar. Anyway, this headline, let's talk about it. But $100,000 in 2005 gives you the purchasing power now of $170,000. And so if you wanted to live as comfortably as you did in 2005 with $100,000, you would need to make $170,000 now. Most of these earners live in some of the bigger cities. So like 25 out of 100 of the cities, the report found that the average monthly expenses and everything needed to live there would exceed $100,000. And I can tell you from experience living in one of those, like a bigger city anyway, in the area of Tampa before I moved back to Tennessee, that's how it was looking. And I was on track to make $100,000 that year as a musician. I made $25 an hour at School of Rock to teach voice. And that's not even talking about how much money I made to teach the private lessons I did and all of the gigging that I did. I worked like a wild woman, but I was still struggling too. But I mean, I was rebuilding and from doing healthcare reform, but I made decent money in healthcare reform and still struggled. And so it wasn't like I couldn't save and couldn't put in retirement the whole time, but there are expenses living in bigger cities that you wouldn't expect, and things that are way more expensive that you wouldn't think about. And most of the high earners are concentrated in those cities. I'll tell you that $85,000 here in where I am in Tennessee would go way further than when I was making $85,000 a year in Florida, in the St. Pete, Tampa Bay area, for sure. Like, I have a whole ass house and I pay less in a mortgage than I paid in rent to live in this tiny old ass house. And it's like in a historic place. But yeah, hold on. Let me just tell you some more about this shit. So like the beginning of this article basically says a 6-figure income basically equals surviving, not success. And that's like crazy, isn't it, to hear that 6-figure people are feeling the stretch. So like if they are living paycheck to paycheck and they're having to put expenses because they're cash poor on credit cards, and they are the highest utilizers of the buy now pay later, like split up in those 4 or 6 payment situations. And the top 10% of earners drive 49% of the economy. So they fall into that, which is crazy that you would have some of those people fall into the top 10%, but that's how big the wealth disparity is, that even when you get to the 10%, you still are paycheck to paycheck now. 3/4 of high income earners over 6 figures said that they've had to use a credit card because of lack of cash. And then half of them have said they would need to double their income to feel comfortable. And I remember my whole thing when I was in college and then going to get my MBA was I just want to be comfortable. Like I just want to be able to pay my bills and put a little bit aside and not have to worry about like emergencies. Like if I needed to do something to a house or if I needed to do a car repair, I just didn't want to be uncomfortable. And you can't even be comfortable with 6 figures.
46% of toy companies expect bankruptcy within weeks. Millions of small businesses on farm are bankrupt, with 1.5 million layoffs. Consumer debt balloons with proposal for 15-year car loans and 50-year mortgages. to ease payments. I want to read your opinions in the comment section down below.